Stop scrolling. Look at me. You think you're going crazy, don't you? You are physically hurting. Your chest feels heavy, your sleep is haunted, and you keep checking your phone for a notification that you know isn't coming. You aren't just going through a breakup. You are going through a withdrawal. You have just been severed from a Scorpio, and I am going to tell you exactly why this specific heartbreak feels like a literal death, while every other breakup you've had just felt like a bad Tuesday. There is a terrifying reason why their silence cuts deeper than any scream, and it has nothing to do with love and everything to do with power. Most people think Scorpios are just intense, but that is a lie we tell to make them palatable. The truth is much darker. If you leave this video now, you will never understand the psychic surgery that was just performed on you, and you will stay stuck in this loop of obsession forever. But if you listen to the end, I'm going to reveal the one secret regarding their return that Scorpios would kill to keep hidden. Let's get one thing straight immediately. The pain you are feeling right now is not logical. You cannot logic your way out of a Scorpio breakup because you were never in a logical relationship. You were in a fusion. In astrology, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, the planet of death, rebirth, and the underworld. When you date a Gemini or a Libra, you date a person. When you date a Scorpio, you enter a contract with the underworld. You allowed them to merge their soul with yours. You see, Scorpio is a fixed water sign. Think about that. Water is usually flowing, moving, adapting. But fixed water? That is ice. It is solid, it is unmoving, and it preserves everything frozen inside it. When they loved you, they didn't just love you, they preserved you. They took a snapshot of your soul and they swallowed it whole. They learned your triggers, your childhood traumas, your darkest fears, and the things you hate about yourself. And unlike other signs who run away from that darkness, the Scorpio moved into it. They set up camp in your shadow. They made you feel seen in a way that was almost invasive, right? It felt like they were inside your skin. That is limbic resonance. They synchronized their emotional nervous system with yours. So now that they are gone, it doesn't feel like you lost a partner. It feels like you lost a limb. That is the phantom limb pain you are waking up with every morning. Your brain is literally confused because the feedback loop of intensity that you were addicted to has been severed with a dull knife. And I have to be honest with you, and this is a bit embarrassing for me to admit as an expert, but even I, with decades of reading the stars, get a chill down my spine when I see a heavy Scorpio transit in the 8th house. Why? Because I know that energy doesn't negotiate. And right now, you are realizing that you cannot negotiate with a Scorpio who has decided to be done. This brings us to the silence, the infamous Scorpio silence. This is where most people lose their minds. You are likely replaying the last conversation, sending texts that go unanswered, or watching them view your stories while saying absolutely nothing. You need to understand that for a Scorpio, silence is not an absence of communication. Silence is a weaponized presence. It is an active action. They are screaming at you by saying nothing. You see, before the breakup even happened, the Scorpio had likely been grieving the relationship for months. They possess a terrifying intuition. They saw the end coming way before you did. They processed the betrayal, the incompatibility, or the disappointment in the quiet chambers of their own mind. By the time they actually pulled the trigger, they had already mourned you. That is why they seem so cold. That is why they seem like they moved on overnight. They didn't move on overnight. They moved on while they were lying in bed next to you 3 weeks ago. There is a concept in psychology called the sunk cost fallacy, where we cling to things because of how much we invested. But Scorpios are immune to this. They are the sign of the phoenix. They are the only sign in the Zodiac that is comfortable burning their entire life to the ground just to see what rises from the ashes. You are standing in the ashes, crying over the ruins, while they are already flying. That sounds cruel, I know, it feels cruel. But here's the twist that no one talks about, the paradox of their departure. The reason it hurts you so much is that they acted as a mirror. A Scorpio partner reflects your deepest potential back to you. They demand absolute authenticity. They forced you to look at your own demons. Now that the mirror is gone, you are forced to look at yourself without the filter of their intensity, and you feel empty. You feel boring. Life without a Scorpio feels monochromatic because you've been living in technicolor high-definition drama. You are literally going through a dopamine crash. You are an addict, and they were the drug. But we have to go deeper into the astrology of this because there is a social proof aspect here that is undeniable. I have consulted for thousands of clients, and the story is always the same. I was fine until I met him. I never felt this way about anyone else. Why can't I let her go? It's because the Scorpio rules the 8th house of sex, death, and other people's money or resources. This is the house of shared energy. When they leave, they rip their energy out of your chakras. It is a spiritual extraction. Let's talk about the sting. The scorpion is represented by the scorpion, obviously. But did you know the scorpion only stings when it feels threatened? The breakup usually happens because you, knowingly or unknowingly, betrayed them. And for a Scorpio, betrayal isn't just cheating. Betrayal is being superficial. Betrayal is lying about how you feel. Betrayal is not standing up for them. Once that trust is broken, the fixed energy locks in, the gate slams shut, and you can knock, you can scream, you can cry, but the fixed sign does not budge. This is what destroys your ego. You are used to people coming back. You are used to the push and pull, but the Scorpio is an all or nothing energy. If it is not all, it is nothing, and you are currently experiencing the crushing weight of nothing. However, there is a secret mechanism in their psychology that explains why you can't sleep, and it's something you can actually use. It's about control. A Scorpio needs to control the narrative. By cutting you off, they control the flow of information. They become a mystery again. And human beings are hardwired to solve mysteries. We cannot handle the unknown. This creates a curiosity gap in your brain that is driving you insane. You are wondering, do they miss me? Are they with someone else? Did they ever love me? I will tell you the answer, and it might shock you. Yes, they miss you with an intensity that would shatter a lesser sign. You have to remember, they are water. They feel everything deeper than you do, but they are masters of the mask. They will never, ever let you see them bleed. The more they hurt, the quieter they become. If a Scorpio is completely silent, completely blocked, and completely gone, it means you mattered. If they didn't matter, they would be indifferent. They would be friends with you. They would be casual. The freezing cold silence is actually proof of the fire that is still burning underneath. They are protecting themselves from you because you have the power to hurt them. You possess the kryptonite. You are the only one who saw them vulnerable, and that is why they had to expel you, to regain their power. So, where does this leave you? You are standing at crossroads. You can continue to stalk their socials, looking for clues in song lyrics and reposts, feeding that addiction, or you can understand the assignment. The universe sent you a Scorpio not to settle down, but to wake you up. They were a catalyst. The relationship was never meant to be a destination. It was a transformation chamber. You were the caterpillar, and they were the cocoon that had to be destroyed for you to become the butterfly. The pain you feel is the breaking of the shell. If you try to go back, if you try to beg, you are only proving to them that you are weak. And if there is one thing a Scorpio despises more than betrayal, it is weakness. They respect power. They respect regeneration. The only way, and I mean the only way to ever get on their radar again or to heal yourself is to do exactly what they did. You have to die. Not literally, but metaphorically. You have to kill the version of you that needed them. You have to burn your own life down and build something so magnificent, so independent, and so powerful that you become a mystery to them. Now, I know some of you are sitting there thinking, but mine was different. Mine will come back. Maybe, but there is a specific astrological transit happening right now that determines if they will return or if they are gone forever, and it depends entirely on your specific sign's compatibility with Pluto. If you want to know if your Scorpio is coming back or if you need to close the door for good, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. I'm going to be releasing a video next breaking down the Scorpio return timeline for every single zodiac sign. Do not miss it. Share this video with a friend who is heartbroken. They need to hear this truth today. Like this video to claim your power back and comment below. What was the last thing